Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. We have a lot to cover in here, but as usual, a little bit of royals and then a lot of Harry Meghan, because believe it or not, they are comparing Meghan to Jade Goody. There's some stuff in here, and Harry is going out of his way to poke the bear. A big thank you to Jilly on Twitter for this above picture. You guys are so talented. All right, but there's a lot, so let's get busy. Let's get in there. Let's go. King Charles on February 19th stepped out and went to the Imperial College in London. This visit is taking place just a few days before the third anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This was a rehab site, and he was talking to the surgeons and the injured soldiers and civilians, and he learned about how the UK is supporting the rehabilitation efforts there. So he was reunited, first of all, with David Henson, MBE, who is a British para-Olympian who lost both of his legs while serving in Afghanistan in 2011. And the king met him the very first time right before the inaugural Invictus Games that were held in London in September of 2014. Interestingly enough, they talked about the Invictus Games, and he goes, yeah, I competed in 2014, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and I was a trustee until 2023, and then he wiped his hands of it. Interesting. When Charles got there, he went to a laboratory area where they showed the center's armored protection research, like samples of combat boots that they're currently developing, which absorb energy before it comes to the foot to avoid heel injuries that result in amputation. All kinds of really cool stuff. He viewed a demonstration of a machine that simulates the creation of combat injuries to see how the protection is actually working. All kinds of stuff like that. I think that's just fabulous. This particular center brings together the different disciplines that are focused on understanding traumatic injuries, and they study injuries that are sustained in conflict zones, sport, and everyday life. And they're working to help rehab people who have injuries of this kind. Now, of course, Charles went outside afterwards. Hundreds were gathered outside. People just love this man. What's not to love? Really quickly, I have to point out that the king, who is not on speaking terms with Harry and who has not made any public remarks about Invictus Games at all, made the comments about the Invictus Games because he was talking to the injured soldier who had also been a trustee until he washed his hands of it last year. And everybody's like, oh my God, he mentioned it. Well, he was talking to an injured veteran. Jeez. Now, the next bit of information that came out was that the king and queen with Princess Anne and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester are going to host a reception at Buckingham Palace on the 20th, which is Thursday the 20th. Now, obviously, as I'm taping this on Thursday, you will see the pictures of that, if there are any, on Saturday. As is usual, you guys have been extremely busy with your memes, and so I've done another compilation for you. I don't know who did them all, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's move on now to Harry. It doesn't take a genius to know that He and Meghan are always trying to create division, upstage his father and his stepmother. So is anybody shocked that when they decided to do the Invictus Games in Birmingham, it's going to coincide with the big celebration that's going to be going on for Queen Camilla's 80th birthday? The king, they're reporting, is planning to pull out all the stops. There's going to be events centering on a Thanksgiving service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. And believe it or not, Harry's arrival at the same time is going to be going on. It's once again, he's trying to pull the attention. I got to be honest, though, I don't think it's going to work. Now, there are several reasons why I'm saying that. Number one, they've chosen Birmingham. Birmingham, a town that is in bankruptcy because they can't even pay their garbage collectors. Their local library is closed. They're dimming the street lights at night because they have no money. People aren't buying tickets. And yet this is the town that they've chosen, supposedly, allegedly. I don't believe that's going to come to fruition. I just don't. That's my first problem. My second problem is I don't believe that anybody is going to want to go watch Harry over all of these events going on with Charles and Camilla. We know that Harry called the Queen the other woman and the villain during his interview with 60 Minutes, and he's just said horrible things, and yet he's continuing this crap because he thinks that he's so well loved by the UK people. The UK people know that he's a traitor. Nobody wants to deal with him. He is a traitor to king, country, and family. You know, if it wasn't for the Invictus Games, you wouldn't even hear from him anymore because let's face it, Archewell has become a running joke. I'm sorry, you guys, but this just doesn't seem to me like a good thing. He could have chosen any other time. He could have gone a week before. He could have gone a week after. He could have held it in June. He could have held it in August. But no, he waited specifically for Camilla's birthday. Let's move on to the next problem. They're saying that Meghan has, quote unquote, set a trap that will make Netflix partnership a write-off. And why are they saying that? Well, do you guys remember this young lady who died of cancer at the age of 27, but not before she literally won the hearts of the British nation and helped raise awareness for women's cancer? It's being said that the reason that her brand worked was because she was authentic. There you go. There was nothing strange or devious about her. There was no brand strategy. And they're saying that that's why Meghan, this whole thing with Meghan isn't working. It's a polar opposite. Everything about her feels staged, managed. Everything. Even her Instagram account, she's not the one making those videos. Other people, she might be taping them, but other people are editing, adding music, and posting them for her. Everything is stage managed. The Oprah interview was stage managed. Even this new launch has been stage managed. The stuff that she's putting out there saying is the kind of stuff you find in like the dollar store. Nothing wrong with that. But it's going to be, sticks that stand in a bottle with smelly liquid, dreadfully, scented candles, throw blankets, and of course her jam. I mean, people are laughing because first it was American Riviera Orchard, then it was With Love Meghan, and now it's As Ever. And immediately she's in trouble because of the store in New York, which already uses that name, because nobody is doing their legal due diligence. I mean, the fails are just unbelievably spectacular. People are reporting that what Meghan does is she takes a very pedestrian idea and imagines that she'll get to run with it because, after all, she's the wife of Prince Harry. But at some point, she's going to launch this project. But does anybody think it's going to work? I mean, who wants to buy overpriced jam and overpriced yoga mats? Nobody loves her enough for that. And that Instagram video where her eyes are literally lighting up as she announces that Netflix is partnering ship with her, that is such a joke. You know what? I agree, to each their own, but, balancing serving up a pan of mixed fruit was always to be preferred, I guess, to trying to overthrow the British crown. The mint leaf in it was just the drop in the bucket. But here's the rub. Meghan has literally made herself so deeply unloved by the public by trying so hard to get us to love her in exactly the opposite way that Jane Goody did, made herself loved by just being herself. Get it? So all marketing gurus know positive sentiment helps attach us to a brand. Jane's perfume that she made 10 years later after her death is still going strong, but as ever is more than likely going to be a Netflix write-off. So there is a publicity expert by the name of Natalie Trice. She runs Natalie Trice Publicity, and she has come out to say what all is going on. Here's what she said. Launching using one name, changing it before you gain any real traction raises a lot of questions about your initial strategy and research, but also the long game. It suggests a lack of clarity about the brand's identity, and it's also attention seeking before launch because the changes keep coming and it's becoming a little bit of a habit. If the foundation isn't solid, changing the name isn't going to fix the problem. Now that all leads into what Richard Eden said. Last March, he contacted Meghan to inform her he had obtained the name of their new lifestyle company, American Riviera Orchard. And as part of their code of practice, British journalists have to contact the subjects of their articles before publication to give them an opportunity to comment. Not only did Meghan not respond, she instead posted a video on her new Instagram account the next day launching the new brand and confirming the name. So this embarrassing U-turn that just took place is not a surprise. It's being reported to some of the royal officials who worked with her after, she became engaged to Harry, because one of them apparently said, listen, this is just further evidence of what we've seen time and time again with Meghan. She doesn't like to take advice. She would have been advised not to launch her company until everything was thoroughly taken care of. Meghan was probably offered so much advice and support after she moved to Britain, but she ignored it. So when they were still working royals, they were surrounded by talented and experienced people who could always be blamed if things didn't turn out to their liking. And that's what Harry went on to do in The Spare. But now they're on their own and they just have to admit to their own mistakes. Now let's talk really quickly about Mindy Kaling. She actually is debuting another comedy on Netflix, and she recently got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She's actually, works really well. And I liked her until she showed up on Meghan's Netflix docuseries. Do you guys remember when she said this?
This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
It's mad. Now, she did say that she left with a basket of fresh produce, homemade jam, and some hot sauce because Meghan is a generous woman who knew that she loved hot sauce. She also said she picked up a couple of hosting tips because Meghan just knows how to do that stuff. For instance, did you know you're not supposed to use your overhead lighting when people come over? You're supposed to use little lamps. You guys, I just can't. And then she went on to say, I think a misconception about Meghan is that she's in any way fussy or has expectations of fanciness. She really is a down-to-earth person who knows a lot of fun tricks to make entertaining easier. So basically, all she did in this article was plug Meghan's show. Now, I want to finish this up by pointing out that Meghan Markle has now stolen the logo from somebody else. She has stolen the name from somebody else, several other people, as a matter of fact. And the people of Mallorca don't want her using that logo. They said they were going to ask her to take it down. She won't. They would sue, but unfortunately, the mayor doesn't have the money. She flat out said, we can't afford to sue Meghan Markle. We can't afford to go against Netflix. Oh my God, there's something wrong with that. Somebody needs to do something. And it's my understanding that the Sidleys are stepping up to the plate. You go, girls. Somebody absolutely needs to do something. A reminder for you guys, my tomato soup recipe dropped on my other channel. So you can get there by going down into the description box. The link is there, along with the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my father's book, which is for sale on Amazon, and my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.